Kevin Holland versus Kyle Daukaus just took place in the co-main event of UFC Fight Night Vegas 38, Santos versus Walker, and I thought I'd give my opinion on what just happened in that co-main event because I have not seen a no contest to a clash of heads for a very long time, and for a moment there, while they were figuring everything out after the fight, I was praying that they would make the right call and make it a no contest, because it's not Kevin Holland's fault that it went down that way, it's not Daukaus' fault that it went down that way either, it's just a weird clash of heads. Kevin Holland essentially gets KO'd by the clash of heads as well, goes down face first, really bad in the first round, and then Daukaus, of course, tries a couple of submission attempts. Kevin Holland is still scrambling and trying to escape and doing okay, then he gives up his back as he tries to get back to his feet. Daukaus sinks in the rear naked choke, standing rear naked choke finish for Kyle Daukaus, but it gets overturned to a no contest because of the clash of heads. I am so happy that this does not count as a loss for Kevin Holland. I am equally as sad for Daukaus, and I do believe there should be something put in play here to where Daukaus does get his win bonus, because it wasn't his fault that the fight ended in a no contest. I truly believe there wasn't too many performance bonus worthy performances on this card, by the way. So with that spare money that they're gonna have, like, what do you give Fight of the Night to as well? So with the spare money that they're gonna have on this card, give Daukaus his win bonus, in my opinion. That's the fair thing to do here, but let's talk about the situation. So, Kevin Holland goes out there. The whole question is, can he defend takedowns against a guy like Kyle Daukaus, who can go out there and grapple him? He pushes him to the cage immediately, tries to take down Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland does show, for the first few minutes of that fight, improved takedown defense, and he mentions it to Daniel Cormier as well in the fight. He says that was better than it used to be, wasn't it? Something like that. He was pointing over saying, look how good I've gotten at this. He had the whizzer against the cage. He was defending quite well. Got up after a couple of split takedowns that Daukaus got, flash takedowns, where he would barely scoop Kevin Holland to the canvas, and then Kevin Holland would work his way back up to his feet. But other than that, it was mainly 2 minutes of clinch in the first round between both of them. Kevin Holland slapping Daukaus and punching him in the body as Daukaus is in this very weird position in the clinch at one point. I don't even know what the position is. He looked like he went for a guillotine, but then just sort of tied up the arm of Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland was just punching his leg and punching his body and kneeing him in the thigh and foot stomping him a couple of times. So I had Kevin Holland, even though he was being pushed against the cage, winning those moments based on total strikes, because Daukaus was literally doing nothing to Kevin Holland in those moments other than push him against the cage. Holland has improved his takedown defense very obviously, showed a couple of good scrambles in that fight, showed an ability to get back up. Even when he got rocked by the headbutt, he showed an ability to scramble and get back to his feet anyway, but eventually gave up his back and the rear naked choke. But before that, on the feet, Daukaus was actually doing okay. You do have to admit, on the feet with Daukaus, he was landing a couple of good shots on Kevin Holland. I believe he landed about a solid jab and then like 2 straight right hands that landed on Kevin Holland. Holland landed a couple of shots back as well. Then he went in for a big exchange against Daukaus. They clashed heads. It was a weird situation. Holland is rushing forwards with his chin first, which is a very unfortunate position to put yourself in, so it's arguably Holland's fault mainly, but Daukaus at the same time is also leaving his head out there. He goes for a level change on Holland, and if he committed to the level change and went for a takedown, Holland's going to be way over him, looking to sprawl that takedown, but Daukaus, instead of going for the level change, is just faking the level change, and then comes back up afterwards, and they clash heads. Basically, the side of the forehead of Kyle Daukaus goes into the chin of Kevin Holland, and I'm telling you, he was out cold for a second, Kevin Holland. I thought he got KO'd, and I thought it was going to be over, and Daukaus was going to finish him off. Goes down face first, tries to scramble out of it, Daukaus rushes, looks for the finish, lands a couple of ground and pound shots. By the way, the reason why I'm more okay with this being a no contest for Kyle Daukaus is because he did land a couple of back of the head shots as well, and I don't not notice those. I always make sure to notice where those shots are going, and he did land a couple of back of the head shots to Kevin Holland, even after landing a clash of heads and knocking down Kevin Holland with the clash of heads. Goes down, Holland scrambles out of a couple of positions, earns his way back to his feet for a second, but then all of a sudden, Daukaus has got the back, he's got the rear naked choke in, Holland's trying to fight it off, gritting through it as best he can, trying to fight the hands, has to tap eventually to the standing rear naked choke. It was so fluky, it annoyed me. It really annoys me that there is that potential in a fight, rather than, fucking hell, man. It was so bad. It was just such a bad outcome, in all honesty, and I'll try and get some of the fighters' reactions to what just went down. But man, it's such a stupid outcome. Why does the sport have to go this way? Why can't Kevin Holland just win, get back in the win column, sort out whatever happened? I just don't understand it, man. I don't get it, man. Kind of fucking annoys me. Upon review, it goes into the books as a no contest. Daukaus looks kind of pissed. Hard to blame him, but I think it's probably the right call. Glad it's not my call, says John Anik. I understand that. And also, let's talk about this. Kyle Daukaus mentions in the fight afterwards, in the post-fight press conference, he said, and this does make sense, and people in the comments are saying that he's losing a lot of fans. He could have made a whole bunch of fans, but he's not acting about this the right way. I think he's acting pretty reasonably to be pissed off about this. He should be given his win bonus. It's not his fault they clashed heads. If anything, it's more Kevin Holland's fault for rushing in. Clash of heads happens. Holland gets KO'd. He does his job and finishes Kevin Holland in the first round. Regardless of what happened between them, it wasn't Daukaus' fault. He should get his win bonus. And he mentioned in the post-fight speech, and I do believe this is true, if Kevin Holland had everything happened the same, the head clash happened, Holland got KO'd for a second, recovered on the floor, got back to his feet, and ended up KOing Daukaus in the first round, it would not be a no contest. And here's where I disagree with that, but it does make a good point from Daukaus here. If Holland would have got back up and finished Daukaus, it would have counted as a win for Kevin Holland. I really doubt there would have been a no contest. But here's the difference, Kyle Daukaus. It's basically the same as this. Both guys land groin shots. This is how I'm going to make an analogy out of it. This is how I see it. Both guys land groin shots. One of them, their testicles completely explode. And they can't continue to fight. No contest. Okay? Or the finish happens because they can't finish the fight because their testicles have popped. Down they go holding their nuts on the ground. And the other guy finishes them off because his groin shot that he received wasn't that bad. You've got to look at it as the victim of the clash. They went in 50-50 with the head clash, but they did not come out 50-50. I see this, and if anyone watches football, and I mean football, by the way, where you use your foot and the ball, not this dumb American football nonsense where you pick up balls with your hands and throw them to each other and run around with it in your hands. I'm talking about real football in Europe. There's a rule called aggregate, I believe. Not aggregate. What's the fucking rule called? Advantage. You get an advantage. So, if the foul happens and the guy who is fouled comes out in the better situation, he gets to continue, and it's called an advantage. And you're allowed to continue. If the guy who gets fouled ends up in a shit situation and loses control of the ball because he's been fouled, they don't call it an advantage. They don't let the play go on, and they stop the play right there, and they call it a no contest, or they call it a foul, and the guy gets a free kick or whatever goes on. So, I believe the fight should have been stopped immediately after the clash of heads that knocked down Kevin Holland. And it looked like the referee wanted to stop it there. He should have jumped in, stopped the fight there, reviewed the tape and said, you know what, no contest. There wouldn't have been this mess where Daukaus feels like he won. It would have been a clash of heads and they would have called it off there. What they need to do in future, if there is a clash of heads, is call it as soon as it happens. Call off the fight. If the guy's really badly concussed and has been knocked down by a headbutt, that's when it needs to stop. You stop a groin shot when a guy lands a groin shot. You stop an eye poke when a guy lands an eye poke. You don't stop a clash of heads foul when the guy's been finished for fucking 2 minutes after the fight is over. Like, 2 minutes after the head clash happens, that's when we're calling what really should have happened, and it should be a no contest. The fight should have been over as soon as they clashed heads. The referee should have jumped in, said, I saw that clash of heads. Play it on the instant replay. If I'm wrong, we'll restart this up, and I'll give you a... I don't even know. It's such a mess. It's such a fucking mess, MMA. I hate this sport sometimes. And now we got to see a rematch, I guess. Which I'm all for, by the way. I'm down for a rematch. Daukaus, I believe, will lose the rematch. Holland looked like he could defend the takedowns. The only reason that Daukaus even got him down in the first place was because of that clash of heads. But give Daukaus his money, I think. That's what I would do. He doesn't really earn too much anyway. He probably makes 20 for 20. Give him his extra 20k. Why not? Don't be mean. You know what I mean? Give him his extra 20k. He won a fight, technically. Got overturned to a no contest. No fault of his own. And now next, I guess the rematch is upon us. But Daukaus, and here's the problem... The rematch is happening. Kevin Holland, I'm sure, wants to probably fight next weekend. Daukaus, says, no, I'm waiting until after December. I'm preparing my brother for his fight. In December. Against Derek Lewis, by the way. Chris Daukaus is Kyle Daukaus' brother. He's fighting Derek Lewis in December. So Daukaus says, no, we're waiting. I'll come back early next year. You're not getting a Kevin Holland rematch then, because Holland's going to want to get back in there this year. I know he got concussed, so there's going to be a suspension, but that suspension is going to be a couple of weeks. You can get right back in there. They say there's a suspension, and if they need a short notice guy to step up, they just step him up anyway. We've seen this multiple times in James Vick's career. There should be a 6-month suspension after you get KO'd. James Vick's turning around 2 months later after getting KO'd and getting KO'd again. Marlon Moraes turning around like 6 weeks later after his Sandhagen KO loss to go and fight Rob Font. No one cares about the suspensions. Let's let Kevin Holland back in there, hopefully against Daukaus, in a couple of weeks, because I'll tell you this right now, and this is something that's bothering me about the UFC recently, majorly. The next fight card is fucking shit. It's a shit fight card. Marina Rodriguez versus Mackenzie Dern is already a bad main event. To have Randy Brown versus Jared Gooden as the co-main, and fucking Maria Agapova versus Sabina Marzo on the main card. Like, some of these fight cards that are coming up are so bad. Please let us have Holland on one of those cards. Just immediately turn him back around. Somehow fix this, please. Immediate rematch. Keep them in Vegas. Turn them around next weekend or the weekend afterwards. Put it at a catchweight bout of 190 pounds or 195 pounds so Daukaus doesn't have to drain himself all the way down again. Holm versus Jamon. The main event is Holm versus Jamon. That's bad enough. The co-main is Arlovski versus Felipe. The feature fight is Andrew Sanchez versus Bruno Silva. These cards are dog shit. Fix them now with the presence of Kevin Holland. Or we can go to November, because they tried to sabotage a card there. November was looking really good. Then they rebooked Vieira versus Tate as a main event of one of those cards. Ruined the whole fucking card. Let's add on another fight on that card because of the shit main event that no one gives a fuck about. And just put Holland versus Daukaus 2 in November. If not, get rid of Daukaus and we'll just bring someone else in, and we can maybe do like Kevin Holland versus Jotko if he wants to stay active, who also won on this card against Misha Serkinov. I'll break down his fight whenever I go through the full fight breakdown. But fuck, man. Why can't we have nice things? We could have been talking about Holland's comeback right now. Who's he going to be taking on next? Is he moving down to 170? Big names next for Kevin Holland. Back on track after a big win against Daukaus. But no. Head clash. Down goes Kevin Holland. And then here we fucking are in this situation. One thing I do want to say as well, though, at the end of this. When they are making decisions over what the fight should be, why the fuck is Sean Shelby giving his fucking advice? He's a matchmaker, not a referee, not a judge, not a commissioner, not anything. They're going up like, oh, Herb Dean and Dan Murgliata. Right, gather around, guys. Let's go talk to Sean Shelby about this. He's a matchmaker. He put the fight together. You don't know what the fucking official result is going to be. What opinion does Sean Shelby have about this? I don't understand why they do that stuff, but they checked the replay. I'm glad they checked the replay. It was a bit of drama, so it stirs up a bit of drama there, I guess. Fucking weirdness, though, man. Took ages to make the decision. I was angry the entire time that there was a head clash. Such a fluky way to go down, but, you know. I feel bad for Daukaus, though. I do actually feel bad for Daukaus because arguably he should have got... Give him his fucking money. That's all I'll say at the end of this. Give him his fucking money. Don't talk to Sean Shelby about what the fucking result should be because he's a matchmaker and he has no idea what the result should fucking be. Also, make these decisions quicker and jump in as soon as the foul happens. There should have been no continuing. It was an obvious head clash. We all saw the head clash happen, including the referee because he went to jump in straight away and hesitated because he wanted to see what was going to happen. As soon as the head clash happens, get right in there. Immediately, get right in there. Stop the fight right there. So there's no awkward situation where a guy technically wins a fight and Holland doesn't get the win and now they overturn it to a no contest. It should have been stopped straight away. I believe Holland would win a rematch. Showed great takedown defense. Daukaus wasn't too busy against a cage. Looked good on the feet, though, at range. I will give him that, but, yeah. Yeah. What a stupid, dumb situation, man. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.